everyone. Welcome to Into the Legit Darkness. I'm not sure where Brett is right this second. Well, there's Brett.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Everyone, this is Brett. He is actually on the team Something Wicked Paranormal. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
Love your glasses, by the way. Brett and I go way back, way back. I'm sorry we're running a little bit behind. We had some technical difficulties. But Brett is just as fascinated with serial killers as I am. And tonight we're going to be talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. I hate to say it, but he's kind of one of my favorite serial killers. That's what I have to say. What?
I think he's everybody because of him being such a monster.
Well, I mean, we could go back and look at like how crazy he is. I know that you've done some extensive research on it, and I have been watching somebody like sent me a message like the other day about how like his dad was on like Dr. Phil.
Well, yeah, but did you ever check out the new movie they made by about Jeffrey Dahmer, where that guy from American Horror Story plays Dahmer?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
It was really good. The only thing is a lot of that movie though, or show, I should say, because they put it, I mean, I sat and binge watched it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I couldn't handle it. I thought it was kind of good, but I know that there was like some parts in there that actually weren't even true.
Yeah, well, I don't know about truth, you're probably right. They probably added some for glam, to beef up the movie, the show. But from what I've read in my books and stuff, they followed it pretty good. And I was reading on a magazine where I don't know the actor's name, but the guy that played Jeffrey Dahmer, he actually had to go see a therapist for dealing with, because it was so it was so violent and whatever. But yeah, he went to see a therapist because it quite disturbed him.
Well, it kind of, I wouldn't want to play a role like that. I'd be disturbed myself, honestly. Let's face facts. But I know that we could get right into it. And if you guys have not seen the show, I think it's on Netflix, right? Is that what I was remembering?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Do you remember the name of it? Because it's been like a while since I watched it.
What is it? It's called Dahmer.
No, there was a different one.
It
was like a monster. No, monster. What? This like a monster and something, not the actual monster. The Elaine Warnos, not that monster. It was like, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's on Netflix. Just go.
Yeah,
if you want to watch it, go ahead. Cool. So, anyways, we're gonna kind of get right into this. I know you had some actually really good pieces of information. I was talking to you before we had a little bit of technical difficulty.
Oh yeah, you want me to start off?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, Dahmer was born in 1960, and over the course of his childhood, his parents fought like cat and dogs really bad, and then finally, mom left and left those two together. The son.
But she took one of her kids.
Yeah,
because he had a brother. She took one.
Maybe she didn't like Dahmer, but he showed the classic signs of it being a serial killer because he liked to torture little animals and cut their heads off and put them on a stake. He'd strip all the meat off of them, put them in acid so he'd get the bones, and he'd bleach the bones and make skeletons out of them. But
his dad's the one that got him into that in the first place.
His dad was I believe his dad was like a part-time taxidermist.
I thought that was I don't know. I thought it was like, maybe it was just because if I'm not mistaken, I know that, and I know that some of this is going to be a little graphic, but whatever.
Yeah. I want to say it was kind of a hobby.
Well, for Dahmer, yeah. But I mean, because I think he was kind of like, tried to get him interested in something. So like, it was like a.
Well, he used male bonding with his son when he would teach him how to do this stuff.
I mean, but that's really not bond. I mean, I guess it could be bonding, but that wouldn't be something that you'd want. I don't know. That's not something that I'd want to my
too.
kid's over.
But yeah, but anyway, he his dad left when he was 18, and he had the house to himself, and that's when he had his first kill. But I
But
don't remember the name.
but I do know before that, he was looking at a runner or a jogger, runner, jogger, and he really liked, the shape of his body and everything else. But I guess he had what was like a bat at one point, and he was hiding. And I guess that particular jogger didn't actually end up going for a jog that day. So that kind of
Well, yeah, he tried to make moves on the guy, and the guy kind of punched him, and saying
was
back
that.
queer and all that stuff, and he got mad, and he was trying to leave, and that's when Jeffrey knocked him in the damn head, knocked him out, and killed him.
When with the hitchhiker?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, he said
he took him back to his house.
yeah, but he said he fantasized about picking up a hitchhiker at the end of the day.
Yeah,
All right, and then but then he cut up his body, put him in trash bags, and
yeah,
that was the end of it. But then, if you really think about it, that was his first killing, and he hit that guy over the head with a dumbbell.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, with a dumbbell.
Yeah.
His first killing, and then he went how many years without actually killing anybody?
Well, I'm not sure because his dad. I I think he tried college once and ended up failing out, and
Yeah, because he was drinking.
yeah, yeah, he did the same thing when he tried to join the army.
Well, yeah, he got kicked out of that because he was drinking. But
Yeah,
when I was watching Dr. Phil, okay, I like Dr. Phil. Okay,
I do too.
it's a great show. Um, he had like there was two guys that he was in the military with that claimed that Dahmer drugged them and he sexually assaulted them.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they were trying to basically. I mean, I feel bad for them. I mean, to go on national TV and say like, "This is what happened to me," because they were basically his victims. And then and that was when he was in the military,
yeah,
which
yeah. He drank his way out of the military too.
yeah, but he was
Then,
drugging those
then
guys.
when he got home, his dad gave him hell for it, and I think he had to move in with his grandma. And then
That's where it gets sticky.
he had another kill there because
Well,
he took the guy's head and put it in a box.
well, the only thing though is I know that like he went and stayed at the mall for a little bit because he wanted that mannequin.
Oh yeah, the mannequin.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I forgot about that.
He
Nice.
got. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but he wanted to feel this mannequin.
Yeah, well, he slept with it and everything. I guess to feel like what it was like to sleep with somebody. I don't know.
It's a mannequin. I mean,
That's as bad as that lady admitting to Keanu Reeves that she took his damn cardboard statue of Keanu Reeves and took it home and used it to kiss on.
it's a mannequin. But I mean, like, how does mall security not know that like somebody is in there? He's like, oh, I see this mannequin. I'm gonna stay here. And I know this is not like a laughing matter, but when you think about it, like I wouldn't stay in a mall and be like, well, I just do that mannequin.
Yeah, really.
Cute. But I do know.
Next thing you know, they'll be saying that they don't make them in big women. They want to be politically correct on mannequins.
But I do know that I was and I watched the Netflix series and at one point it said that his grandma found the mannequin but his dad destroyed it or he destroyed it. Like I wasn't really sure on that one, like who technically destroyed the mannequin or if he did, his dad did.
I know his dad took it away from him and he was pretty pissed.
Okay, but at the end of the day, okay, he's with his grandma now, okay? He's
Yeah.
got this other killing. He put the head in a box and it looks like a metal box, right? At the end of the day. And his dad wanted to go through it. Okay, this is where I have a really hard time with this. and because his grandma claimed that there was porn. And he like threw a fit and he's like, I'll open it tomorrow, because we all know if his dad would have opened it, they would have found this head in there. And honestly, if it was my kid, I'd be like, just open it. Just, I want to see what you have in there. I want to take your porn away. But he's an adult, so I don't really know if you can just start taking. I know it's not funny. It's not, but I mean, because at the end of the day, his dad was like, okay, I'll wait until tomorrow. I'll wait until tomorrow. Only because like Jeffrey was like, oh, well, I don't want to upset grandma.
Yeah.
She's already stressed out enough. And I just feel like when I was watching that interview and I was listening to his dad do this interview, and he was like, I could have stopped it right then and there. In my opinion, and I'm just saying this is my opinion, take it for what it is. It probably doesn't matter. But in my opinion, I feel like his dad wouldn't have stopped anything. He would have just been like, how can I help you hide this body? I mean, naturally, because the way that he talks about it, he's like, I could have stopped it. I waited. I shouldn't have waited until the next day. What?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have stopped it and got his son some help. I mean, at the end of the day,
Well, I mean, people do really odd things, and I don't know. I mean, hell, me and my cousin took a mannequin out of the trash can behind behind his store and put it together. But we climbed a mountain, set it on the side of the mountain, stuffed several bottles of ketchup in it, and then yelled at it and slapped her. And then next thing you know, the thing falls down. the ketchup goes all over everywhere, and the people coming up the mountain for them to see this shit, and they turn around all ass back down.
I mean, I can
So,
honestly say I've never taken a mannequin, and
well, we did, but it was trash by the time it got knocked over those rocks and stuff on the way down the side of a mountain.
well, I just feel like there's nothing appealing to that unless I was like gonna like, I don't know, dress it up and be like, oh, that would look really cute on a mannequin, but not, like, well, whatever, play with a mannequin. I don't know. That's just me. But um, anyways, like I said, so he's taking this box. Anyways, we're talking about the box of the head that he had in there. He was taking it to work with him, because he wanted to feel close to it.
Was that the time he was working at the chocolate factory?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But Mike, okay, well, I'm in the show. I don't know what happened to Brett. So, anyways, we were talking.
There we go.
Oh, there we are.
I don't know what that was.
Hey, it's technology.
Maybe they didn't like the mannequin.
Probably. It's a mannequin jokes. So, anyways, like I said, he was taking it to work, keeping it in his locker. This head that he had with, and I don't want to start naming names. There's families. I just want to kind of give a lowdown on, what exact Dahmer did. My thing is, though, wouldn't that start to smell after a while at the end of the day? I mean, wouldn't that start to smell at the end of the day if he didn't really know what he was doing?
Oh yeah, man, a dead body smells like, yeah. Oh, once you smell it, you'll never forget it.
I'm good.
That's like one of those deals. Like once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Oh, I just looked something up. Do you know in August of 1984, Dahmer was arrested for indecent. He was exposing himself at the state.
Yeah, he got 2 charges on that. He
only got, there was only a $50 fine.
Well, I think the second time he did it, he ended up getting a jail sentence. But he did that twice.
Oh, you're in 1986. He was charged with disorderly conduct again, and he was sentenced to 1 year of probation and undergo counseling.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, whatever. If he's done it once, I mean, well, it is what it is. I mean, we gotta figure, like, back then, I mean, things were different. Like, we couldn't do it now. I mean, we would be in jail, like, for a while, So, it was 9 years since he ended up, I mean, we left out a big chunk. There was like a 9-year gap, and that he didn't kill anybody. And somebody asked him, like, how did you suppress those urges? And he's like, I really didn't. I just kind of dealt with it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would deal with that. So in 1987, Dahmer brought a 14-year-old to his grandmother's basement after saying that he would give him $50 to take pictures. And we're not just talking like, I'm just going to take a snapshot of you. It's more or less of, I'm going to, I just want nudes.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And at that time, a 14-year-old boy is probably going to be like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like, I need $50. I mean, I don't know what you'd use $50 for at 14, but it is what it is. But he's ended up drugging him. um, and then strangling him, obviously, and disposing of his body.
In his grandma's basement, right?
This was in his grandma's basement. Yeah. See, this is where I'm having the problem. Like, it doesn't really tell you, like, if he's like dismembering these bodies and then putting them in like trash bags, or if he's like keeping them, because at one point he's like, oh, I wanted to be close to him, right? Again, like, now I feel like he was just like an amateur at this point. And I shouldn't say amateur because that sounds horrible to say.
He's developing his skills.
Right. But you would assume that by that time he would have actually thought, okay, maybe, I need to do something else.
Well, he didn't really get down to it until he got his own apartment there in Milwaukee. And then that's when he started the really insane stuff.
Well, okay, let's just kind of jump to that because that just seems more interesting. I'm not saying that the rest of it's not interesting because there was 17 victims altogether at the end of the day. But at this point, when he was living with his grandma, he wasn't.
No, he was keeping the bodies in the basement because grandma couldn't figure out where the hell that nasty smell was coming from. And then she sent Dahmer down there on a couple of occasions to clean. So
yeah, clean up your own mess.
Yeah, she didn't know the bodies were down there. She just knew the stench was coming from there.
Well, and then so basically he's moving into his own apartment, okay? Because actually his grandma was really annoyed at the fact that he was bringing men to her house.
Yeah, and because she got Jeffrey's dad to talk to him about it, that he can't be doing that anymore and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I can't remember, but I think his dad kicked him out of his grandma's house.
Yeah, because of like the smell.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I mean, so obviously like I said, I don't want to say amateur because I don't think at this point that he realized like how bad that was going to smell, because all you hear from him is like, especially in his interviews, is like, I wanted to keep them with me. I wanted to keep them with me. And I feel like in that aspect, like now, it just seems like now you have abandonment issues.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Take it for what it is. But anyways, so he moves into his own apartment, and then he actually gets in trouble for sexual assault with like a 13-year-old boy. And I do know that I think he spent some time in prison. He drugged him and molested him. Okay.
Was that in Milwaukee or was that
that was in Milwaukee? And
was it okay?
I always have this weird theory, and it's just my theory. I always feel like serial killers are always coming from Wisconsin, anyways.
Do what?
Like I feel like more serial killers are coming from Wisconsin, anyway.
Oh, well, hell, we had John Wayne Gacy in Chicago.
I know, but
so yeah, there's a perimeter circle around where they come from.
There is like a certain, it's like it's more like we'll say Milwaukee all the way to like Chicago. The rest of us, no, we're good. We're good. As you guys both, everybody knows that Brett and I are from Illinois. So I mean, We have I guess not really that we have a right to say that they come from definitely Wisconsin, but like a lot of them are always like, oh, I was in Wisconsin.
Well, the crazy thing is that John Wayne Gacy, he actually started in Iowa, and he ended up to get out of some of what he was looking for in charges. He moved to Illinois, and they just never records never followed. But
Well, I mean,
he got in some serious trouble in Iowa, and that's when he moved and came to Illinois.
so when he molested, okay, so when he molested that boy, he really only ended up in, he only spent a week in jail and then was released on bail. I wonder who bailed him out.
Probably Dad.
You know, he did. I just have this weird, like, I don't know. I just, like, when I look at the guy and I listen to his interviews, to his dad, Lionel's interviews, I think to myself, like, I just want to scream, like, liar. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be no way in heck I could cover up for my kids like that. Like, I'd be like, you got to go in, or I'd call the cops.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you love your children,
Well,
how do you?
if you don't, they bring you down with them.
Well,
Because then you're facing charges for not turning him in.
yeah, but his dad didn't.
That's because he was in Wisconsin.
No, I think his dad was in like Ohio. um. So, anyways, the story goes on is he actually went to, and I don't care, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Dahmer liked men. I think he was always claiming in like an interview that he was gay, but he knew that was wrong, according to his family. Okay, and I'm saying according to his family. That I'm not saying that this is me and Brett's opinion. So, and we're not going to give that opinion because it's not for us. But what I'm saying is, according to his family, they didn't think it was right. So, anyways, he was kind of hiding that aspect of like, I don't know, why not just come out? And do you think like that could
Well,
be of some of it though too? Like I don't know.
he tried to, but he was going to a gay bar, and when somebody showed him interest in him, he would drug them and then take them around the back into separate rooms behind the bar and have sex with them.
Are you talking about
But
the
it was drugged.
bathhouses?
Huh?
The bathhouses,
Yeah.
not the bar.
Well, I mean, it's got
I
a
guess,
bar in it.
yeah, I guess it
It
is a
had a
bar,
bar,
bathhouse. I
but
don't, I don't.
he
But
it took him some time to figure out that he was doing that. But he got away with actually raping quite a few men
well, because
because he
he was
drugged them.
drugging them. But look at that one guy that he took to the hotel, right? Thought he was just going to have a good old time, drugged him. And then supposedly the next morning he gets up and he's like, this guy's dead. And he's got bruise marks all over him and whatnot. And the truth of the matter is, he bluntly says in this interview, and I'm just telling you guys can all go and listen to an interview, but I'm just saying, allegedly, he's saying that he doesn't have any recollection of beating him. What?
What?
Yeah, he doesn't remember beating him. It's like, well, he claims that he was like drinking, so he doesn't remember. So he
Yeah.
had to get in the room for the next day as well, get a suitcase, put the guy in there because now this guy is dead, right? I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So how do you not remember? Like, I've never been, I mean he was an alcoholic, let's face facts, he was. But I don't think that they were drinking that much where you don't remember that you were beating somebody. You know what I mean? Or I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never been that drunk, but I'm just saying, like, I would have remembered. Like, most drunken nights you remember, okay? Most.
Yeah. Well, if you got those nights that you don't remember because you drink way too much, then
Well, but what
you're still in a stupor stage, and I still don't see you beating somebody like that.
okay, but let's just say that he accident because he's drugging these guys now. He's got all these, he knows what he's doing. What if he accidentally took some of those drugs and then beat the guy? I mean, that's one theory because he just said, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been it too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there. Um, I'm just saying that could have been a theory. I just listened to the tape earlier and he was like, I don't remember. It's like, okay, that's a good one. Next time I'm like, I don't remember. I
Yeah.
don't know where I was. I know that's so bad. What did you do? I don't remember. It could have happened. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, going back to when he's gotten his own place, and I found this a little fascinating. And so we all know that he was basically going to the malls, and he was offering these guys money to take nude pictures, like come back to his place, whatever, he's taking nude pictures,
Yeah.
whatever. What I found a little fascinating with this whole situation is, now I lost my train of thought. My thing is he had to go to work, okay? But okay, again, there now I remember it. If you remember, anybody that remembers like watching the movies or just reading up on him or whatnot, he was making them watch The Exorcist.
That I didn't know. That's cool. That's okay. I didn't catch that one.
He was making them watch The Exorcist. It's such a bad movie, anyways. Okay, but it was one of his
It's the
favorite
only
movies.
movie that scared the shit out of me.
I mean, I'm not saying like I just don't care for the movie. Okay, I don't really care for it. But he was making them watch it for what? I mean, like he's like,
Maybe
probably
he's trying
holding
to
in.
tell him he's the devil.
It's such a bad movie. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna die here watching just this movie. Um, which it's just a bad movie.
That's one of the only horror story movies that hasn't been redone. I
I
guess
don't.
the Latin dude that made The Exorcist won't let anybody. He won't sell the rights to it so they can redo it. I guess I don't know.
Right. So, anyways, then on top of it, the boy that he molested, and this was a while back, his brother got in cahoots with Dahmer, and Dahmer actually tried to. I mean, Dahmer drugged him, drilled a hole in his head, and shot him up with some acid in there to try to make a zombie. I never.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
worked for about a day or two. Then it killed him.
that's what I thought, but I do know that like he got outside, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, one
And
of them escaped and was in the street and got
yeah, it was the
cops. Right?
younger. Yeah.
Yeah, he went over there and told them that he's my gay friend or whatever.
Or his
He did
boyfriend,
a
yeah.
little bit too much drugs, and now they told him to go get him back in the house, and he took him right back to his apartment and killed him.
Exactly. Again, I think he said he was fascinated with that, I guess, about making zombies because he
Mm-hmm.
thought that they wouldn't leave him. Um,
Can you imagine? I mean, man, I, I'm still amazed on how bad he could actually stay in that damn apartment because that smell that had to be out of this world. When he opened that damn acid vent that he was drowning those bodies in there, my God, could you imagine the whiff of the freaking fumes that would come out of that thing?
okay, so I was telling you earlier, and when we had this conversation, Brett, and I told you that I was also fascinated with this. There was that round barrel that was blue,
Yeah,
okay, and he was putting bodies in there, and he was um putting I don't some kind of chemical in there. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm telling you, I don't think I ate for like days after, like, because I watched or I listened to the tape the lawyer released, and he was saying that after a while it came kind of slushy,
yeah,
and he was dumping it down the toilet. And
mm-hmm.
then I thought, what? Wait, what? Like
Yeah.
I was in shock. I was like, whoa, like, no, like, but the smell, and I know his neighbors complained about the smell, and then I also, again, This is just, oof. Um, there was a point where, again, in the interview, and I'm just saying what he was talking about in the interview with his lawyer, that when they released the tapes, she did ask him when he was starting to actually eat people, or there's a proper term for it, but it's not coming to me right at the second. How long it would last, and he said if you package it right and whatnot, it lasts for like 2 weeks. And I thought, oh, I don't. He said it's basically having filet mignon, and I was like, I've never had that, and I just never will. Like now that you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he used that analogy, and I thought, because I was at the grocery store the other day, and I was like, oh, no, 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 I'm good. I will never look at one, and I don't want one. I don't want to try it. Just
Don't
don't
eat
want it.
strip either, then, because they're the same thing. Chicken tenders. That's a fillet.
No, I don't think I'm gonna have those anymore. Thanks for that. But I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, like I couldn't imagine like doing that to somebody. I'm like, oh well, it's okay. I wanted to know what it felt like, what they felt like inside of it. And I was like, I don't think that was the way to go. I don't really think that was really the way to go. I think there was many different ways that they could have easily done that, or
Yeah.
he could have easily done that. Let's just face facts.
When the police actually went in there and looked, good God, he had a couple heads in the in the refrigerator. There was a shrine of that he kept skulls next to each other. He had, and then next to that he had petrified penises.
Hmm. I mean, like I said, I know that, it really kind of, I mean, I do know, and I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, how did he get cut? Well, somebody escaped, and the guy was handcuffed. And from what I'm understanding, they were watching The Exorcist. Of course they were, right? One of his victims.
Yeah.
And he was smart enough, and I don't know how he managed this, um, to he must have been handcuffed somehow to, I don't remember exactly.
Well, yeah, he played a game with him, and they handcuffed him together, and because he would go first and keep the key in his like back pocket and undo him, and then he goes, "Here, you try," and he puts the handcuffs on him, and bam, he's got him.
And then he did escape. I do know that. And then he's seen the squad car come by, obviously, and it was more or less of yay. So they ended up going in, finding all of it. And like I said, he had shrines. He was making a shrine. And they were asking him, what were you making this shrine for? And he's basically like, for meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation for what?
Well, I don't know, some way to get more bodies.
Well, here's the thing though. At the end of the day, he was like like I said, I've watched a lot of interviews. It's like, which sometimes what you read on the internet, you're like, I don't know if that's gonna work. But once you actually start listening to like the actual interviews and the tapes that he had with his lawyers, it kind of gives you a different perspective on what the movie that they had out. You're like, yeah, that just didn't really make any sense. But they did ask him, if you didn't get caught, would you still be doing it? And he said, yes, I would.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's got sentenced to, what was it, 99?
904
Oh,
uh, years.
yeah, there you go. Sorry, I missed it.
No, that you got he got charged with 11 counts of murder.
Hmm.
And I think the apartment he only killed 4 or 5 people.
Well, the cops were in there when he tried to make that zombie out of that little boy, and there was a body that was laying on his mattress. And you're telling me that you're not going to go in and look? I mean, that smell's got to be awful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
It's
yeah.
got to be awful. And then I found out, like, he was said in an interview that he was making sandwiches for his neighbors.
Oh yeah.
Like, that wouldn't have been a sandwich that I would have wanted. But what I'm saying is,
We got to make a restaurant and call it Dahmer's.
they have a cookbook out. not that I'm saying that there was, technically a cookbook on any of that. I'm just saying that there was like a cookbook that you can actually buy, and it's just got a bunch of recipes in there, but it is what it is. And it looks like I may have lost
I,
track.
you know, you,
Okay.
my damn daughter.
But like I said, I think there is, if I'm not mistaken, there was some kind of restaurant that I seen that actually you can look at it. I don't know where it would be at, so I have to. I think I've seen it on TikTok. I don't know. Big TikTok person now.
If it has anything to do with body parts of humans, I'm not going in there.
Well, okay, so when he was in prison, let's talk about when he is in prison, okay? This is what another weird thing, okay? So you're in prison, all right? Everybody knows now at this what point you're in prison for, okay? Do
Hmm.
not take your meals. And he pretended, and he was taunting the rest of these inmates at the end of the day about making his food into body parts and putting ketchup on there, pretending that it was blood. I mean, who wants to see that? Okay. And it's just,
Well, I'll tell you, it's the idiots that want to marry these people that are in prison for really sick shit.
okay, but
They,
here's the
they can change them, so they want to marry them.
okay, but hear me out. If Dahmer was still alive to this, like right now, and I would be the first one to admit this, it just is what it is. I'd write him in prison, not as a romantic thing, but I would want to try to get into his brain. Like he was very forthcoming, like about his crimes. Like he just like, whatever. I'll tell you anything that you want to know. Okay, anything that you want to know. At the end of the day, think about it.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, he was in solitary confinement, obviously, probably for his own safety. And then, like, what was it, like a year later, he wanted to be in the general population.
Well, they attempted to kill him twice. The first time they didn't do it right.
It's like they didn't do it right. Well, okay, though, but at the end of the day, this is what's weird. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he decides that he's going to become religious, right? And that is everybody's God-given right. He can become religious and he can repent for his sins or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But don't you find it odd as he gets baptized the same day that Gacy is put to death?
That's a good one. Yeah.
And there was like a weird moon or eclipse or something like that night too. So
I
I
wonder if he got baptized.
what?
They kill him before he got baptized. Or they kill him after he got baptized.
After he got baptized.
Was it okay? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, after he got baptized. Um he went ahead and, like I said, I always found it really weird, and I thought, is he just trying to take thunder away from Gacy?
I don't know.
I mean, if you think about it, because it'll be a big thing because Dahmer got baptized all of a sudden, but at the same time, like, who decided he wanted to be baptized that day, knowing Gacy was going to go ahead and be put to death that day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, who scheduled it? Did Dahmer schedule it? If he did, I mean, let's face facts. They're going to have TVs, so they're going to know that, like, Gacy was, dying that day. Unless he's like, I got to be on that day because I want it about me.
Yeah.
Let's face facts. I mean, it could have been all that. I mean, he could have said it could have been all about him.
Yeah. So he collected. He took Polaroid pictures of everybody he had anything to do with. Not necessarily. He even had some in there that he hadn't killed.
Well,
Yeah.
they claim that he went ahead and kept them because he wanted to remember what they looked like.
Yeah. Well, there was even people in those pictures that he didn't kill too, though. So why he chose one over the other, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I guess that's something that I guess we'll never know. I mean, at the end of the day. But and remember at the beginning we were talking about how his first victim he killed with a dumbbell. Remember?
Yeah.
And what happens
One to leave.
to gets killed with a dumbbell in prison?
Yeah, because he didn't want him to leave.
Well, he, during his court proceedings, he sat there and he's like, um, I deserve death and so on and so forth. Um, and it's just kind of like, well, how do you have remorse at the end of the day? I don't think he did. I mean, if you're taunting prisoners at the end of the day with what body parts look like with your food, I mean, does that seem like somebody? I mean, that's not somebody that's remorseful. But then he bluntly said, I would keep doing it if I didn't get caught. So then why get baptized? Did he find God in this situation in there? Or is it, when it comes to the prison system, and I want to talk about that for a second, is it just something for them to do to pass time? Maybe get an education, maybe try to find God, but not really find God, just to kind of get out of their cells. I don't know. I've never been in prison, and I'm not going to be. But
but you know what they should have done? Instead of putting him in prison, send him over to Iraq.
For what?
So he can take them out one by one.
What state is it that they still do the the little gun thing? What is it called? It's right there.
Little gun thing.
They all, like, you line up and everybody's got a gun, and
Salute.
what is it called? It's right there. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Gun salute.
Nope, not talking about that. It's like a death thing.
Wow,
You don't know who's got the bullets, okay, in that gun, and the guy stands there. I know that the guy that you know what I'm talking.
Did each other?
What?
Talking about the cowboy days when they took steps away from each other and turned around and shot at each other to see if they kill whoever.
No. It is a firing squad. That's what it is. I knew. There's a state, and I cannot remember. It's there. There's a one guy that's on death row, and he wanted a firing squad. And I believe I don't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up and let everybody know next time. But I can't remember who it was. He wanted the firing squad.
I don't know.
But I mean, I heard lethal injection isn't exactly the way to go either. I heard that's kind of painful.
No, I know Bundy. He wanted to be electrocuted.
I don't think that I could. I don't know. I probably just want to do a shot. But I heard that that's like painful. Electrocution, maybe a little. Oh, I don't think I could handle that. I don't really think I could handle that, because I heard that it takes more than once.
I don't
know. I mean, I don't know.
I could go to prison and be on death row to find out anyway.
No. But the funny thing is like I said, I would have, and I'll be the first one to admit, if Dahmer was still alive, I would definitely go ahead and write him, because I want to see,
But do you really think he's going to tell you?
I don't know. He gave up all this information like very quickly in every interview. Like he's just like, "Yep, I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it." I mean, it's not like I was going to write him a love letter.
I mean, yeah, he admitted his crimes and stuff, but I don't think he sat there and still guessed what his dark past was like. With the other dark half of him, I'm sure he doesn't tell him what kind of. I can look at this guy and I see chicken legs, and I just have to have him.
No, it's nothing like that. Like, I didn't want to I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be anything like that. But I do know the building. Like, I know a lot of people will ask, like, oh, is the apartment complex where he had all these victims? There was somebody that actually went ahead and bought all the stuff out of Dahmer's apartment, anyways, because of the fact that they wanted to give restitution to his victims. And at the end of the day, he was never, ever going to be able to give restitution to his victims, making maybe 15 cents cleaning floors at the end of the day. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So basically, a guy from Illinois bought it and destroyed all of it.
Well,
and the building's down now, too. The building is down. I guess everybody in that complex went ahead and decided they didn't want to live there, so they just tore it down.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I know built Gacy's house.
What was that?
They tore down Gacy's house too and rebuilt it.
I know. Because let's face facts, like if that apartment complex was still up, I'd have been like, I might rent out that apartment.
Yeah.
That's like I'm coming to Milwaukee to visit. No, but I mean, I think as paranormal investigators, that's a little off topic for this show, but as paranormal investigators, it'd be something, kind of interesting to, figure out if there, you know, kind of is something there. But we're not going to know at the end of the day, because there is no more building, unfortunately. And the victims' families were given, money, and money doesn't bring back their loved ones at the end of the day. But I do know that when I was watching his court case, this woman went off on him. He like sat there, like didn't flinch. I mean, I thought she was gonna go after him because I thought, oh, it's gonna get good. Nope, he stood there.
Black men too, didn't he?
What was that?
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he killed mainly black guys.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Back in that, and I'm not saying that there's anything. I
Funny.
mean, teach their own, But the cops didn't seem to really care. And I don't know if it was because of the neighborhood or if they were just so concerned about not worrying about the gay community at that point, at the end of the day.
I think it was only because that he was in that kind of a neighborhood. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what he only had the choice to pick. But
Right.
I know the one guy, the hitchhiker, he was white.
Yeah. And I know the jogger that he wanted, same thing. But I guess,
Yeah.
like I said, I just can't get over like his dad. Okay. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I just can't get over it at the end of the day. Reason being is, how do you not know? Your son is already in a bunch of trouble, right? In a bunch of trouble. Why not get him the proper help that he needs? And all it is like, I was hoping that he was going to get, help while he was in prison.
Well, I mean, Reenie, how do you read that in your kid? You don't know he's killing animals because he hides them in the woods. You don't know he's having those kind of fascinations because he doesn't put it down on a piece of paper. I mean, can you tell me, how do you pick that out of a person to know that they're that, demented?
Okay, but there was one time, and this is kind of like a left out type thing. Like it's probably not important, but it is kind of important. His dad said that he was hiding those dead animals, some of the dead animals underneath the house or whatever when he was younger. And then he went ahead and, by the time they were bones, like he had like this metal thing, and he just loved the way that the bones,
Yeah, he liked to bleach them.
Yeah, well, no, he liked the way that the bones sounded when they hit that metal bucket. He
Oh,
thought it was great. And I thought, I don't know. I mean, right then and there, that should have been your first indication.
well,
Okay, but I know he didn't know about like or the dog situation or whatever. And when he like played these home videos, it looks like he was, getting along with these animals. But let's face facts here. He knew that his son loved to get off on the fact that killing animals. And that is like the first indication. Like,
yeah,
if your kid is killing animals, okay, now you know that your kid is probably going to turn into a psychopath and become a serial killer at some point. Okay, so you might as well just get him the help that you need. But at the same time, and I understand that he was 18 and he was able to stay at home by himself, but I think he just had abandonment issues. At the end of the day, it seems like everybody just kind of left him, and he didn't want anybody to leave him at the end of the day.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying for the sake of argument.
Well, how
What was
was
it?
school?
What was that?
We haven't talked about that yet. How he was in school. We haven't talked about that yet.
No, I mean his grades were bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, but how he acted, because I knew he he was an oddball. He'd fall on the floor and then start shaking like he's having a damn seizure, and all the kids around him are laughing and everything else. He did that a few times, and then finally they didn't give a reaction back, and he just was weird.
Well, and like I said, I mean, as a parent, you think, I mean, I get it. There was a lot of issues going on in the household, like at the end of the day. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like his parents could have done a little bit more, but they always wanted to blame his mom. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, well, she took a bunch of pills when she was pregnant with him or whatnot. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, back then there was really nothing to say like, hey, what's gonna work. I do know that he had a couple surgeries. I think it was like hernia surgery, and they said that he was never the same after that either. Um, so I don't really technically know, but I do know that when he was killed, and I thought this was kind of interesting to say the least, is he was cremated, and they kept his brain, and his mom and dad fought over what they were going to do with it. And I
Yeah.
believe his mom wanted to keep it for basically science. And his dad's like, no. I mean, they were going to fight about it. How are you going to fight about it?
Why would you want to fight about it?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, let's think about the research that could have came from that, and what we could have, now realized, like what created,
Yeah,
uh,
but get that.
like a serial killer, like what in his brain. Like if you think about it, um, I mean, tomorrow I could pass, and then somebody could be like, all right, let's see what was technically in her brain. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there like, I wonder what was in her brain.
Well, I
Not
mean,
that you should know, but
I'm not a doctor, and I don't know, but what I do know is that when you're dead, your brain is no longer firing, you know, synopsis and stuff like that. The dopamine, it's not you're not reading the levels. I mean, what would be really interesting is the dopamine when he gets into the kill stage. How much does that go up? Because that could, the dopamine, it could flood his brain with with their fascinations and all that stuff, and that's maybe why he got off on that stuff. But with a dead brain, you don't have that firing sequence to study.
I know, but I mean, what happens if like now we still had his brain and we could, at this point in time, we're like, okay. I do know that I don't know if did they keep Ted Bundy's? I know that they kept somebody's brain. I think it was somebody's brain
I'm
of
sure
some
they
sort.
kept several of them. You
And
know,
I'm sure that they could come across, I mean, I don't know. And I'm just saying, I
but
don't
well,
know. I'm not a scientist or doctor or whatever you want to call me, but
you want to go back all the way to the Bundy stage? That was, good God, what, 60s, 70s? So I mean, I
right.
do with this. What do you do with a 50-year-old brain?
Well, I do know that Dahmer's brain was cremated. And this is the weird thing, and I find this kind of odd. I love serial killer memorabilia. Okay, so sometimes I'll just like surf the internet because I have nothing better to do with my valuable time.
No,
I am not gonna lie, I don't. And I came across Dahmer's urn. I don't know how somebody got that. I really don't. Don't worry, his ashes are not in there. They were divided amongst his mom and dad or whatever. The thought one time crossed my mind if I had that kind of money. But then what would I do with it? I'd probably be scared.
I, I I don't want none. I mean, good God, and John Wayne Gacy's his stupid clown pictures sell for over $1 million.
Well, I know that they have like Gacy's one of his outfits in like the Tennessee Museum, and I was like,
Oh, no, clown suit.
yes.
Oh wow,
I know. I want to go so bad. So I was like, oh, maybe I should take a trip this summer.
yeah, that would be cool to go see.
hmm So we'll probably wrap this up. And I appreciate you being with me tonight, Brett. And we're going to have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
I know I had a lot of fun. I hope we touched base on a lot of stuff. I mean, it was kind of fun. And, if everybody doesn't know, Brett and I actually have not like solved any cases because that's just not what we do. We've actually, I think it was like last year when I was on a different platform, you went ahead and
On Robert B.
Yes, we're gonna have to do that case again.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna have to. Um, so everyone have a good night and thank you again. And you guys can see me next week. And I'm not really sure what the topic's gonna be yet.
Okay.
So
Well,
all right. Well,
if you don't have
thank you. What was that?
watching it,
I can't hear you.
if you don't have me on next week, I'd love to watch you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And like I said, this isn't the last time you guys will see Brett. I enjoy like discussing cases with Brett because it's just kind of nice. I like Brett. All right. Well, thanks everyone. You guys have a good night.
You. Bye.
Bye.